The asteroid field floated in silence, rocks tumbling slowly through the darkness of space. 3 warships moved carefully between the stones, their sensors reaching out into the black. Commander Zelkith stood on the bridge of the Veskari flagship, his crystalline body reflecting the soft blue light of the control panels. Beside him, representatives from 2 other alien species watched the screens with interest. "Energy signature detected," announced the sensor officer. Her crystal face flickered with colors that showed excitement. "Unknown vessel. Sector 7. 3 Alpha." Zelkith leaned forward. In all his cycles of service, finding a new ship was rare. Most species in the galaxy were already known and catalogued. "Show me." The main screen changed to display a ship floating among the asteroids. It looked wrong somehow. The design was rough and angular, not like the smooth curves that most civilizations preferred. Thick plates of metal covered its hull, and dark scorch marks streaked across its surface. Several areas showed what appeared to be damage from weapons fire. "Looks dead," said Commander Threx of the Crix Collective. His insect-like mandibles clicked together as he studied the image. "Probably been here for cycles. Maybe even longer." The third commander, a Thelm named Wessick, adjusted his water-breathing apparatus. His voice came through with a bubbling quality. "The design is primitive. See those external weapon mounts? Inefficient. And that armor plating is so thick. Must make the ship incredibly slow." Zelkith had to agree. Whoever built this vessel clearly lacked proper technology. "Can you identify the species?" "Negative, Commander," replied the sensor officer. "No match in our databases. The energy readings are minimal. Life support appears offline. I'm detecting only standby power." "A derelict, then." Zelkith felt a small disappointment. Still, salvage rights could be valuable. "This is contested space between our 3 empires. According to the treaty, we should claim it jointly and split the technology." Threx and Wessick both signaled agreement. It was rare that the 3 species worked together, but this was too interesting to argue over. "Hail the vessel," Zelkith ordered. "Standard first contact protocols, just in case there's anyone left alive." The communications officer began transmitting on all known frequencies. She sent greetings in the 12 major galactic languages and included mathematical proofs to show intelligence. No one expected a response. The ship looked like it had been abandoned for years. "Unknown vessel. This is Commander Zelkith of the Veskari Concordat. We mean you no harm. If you require assistance, please respond on any..." The communications officer stopped speaking. Her crystals went completely white with shock. "Commander," she whispered, "we're receiving a response." Everyone on the bridge froze. The dead ship was answering them. A voice came through the speakers, calm and clear. It spoke in a language none of them had heard before, but the translation systems quickly adapted. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the UNSC, Perseverance. You are in designated human observation space. State your intentions." "Human?" The word meant nothing. Zelkith checked the galactic database again, searching for any species called humans. Nothing. Not in any sector, any system, anywhere in known space. "Unknown contact," Zelkith replied carefully. "We have no record of your species or your territorial claims. We detected your vessel and believed it to be in distress. Are you in need of assistance?" There was a pause. Then the human voice replied, with what might have been amusement. "Negative. All systems are functioning normally. We're right where we want to be." On the screen, the supposedly damaged ship began to change. Lights flickered on across its hull. The thick armor plating shifted, revealing that much of it was actually retractable panels. Sections that looked broken and scarred suddenly moved with perfect precision. Energy readings spiked dramatically. "By the ancient crystals," Zelkith breathed. The ship had never been damaged at all. Every mark, every scar, every sign of wear had been deliberate camouflage. The vessel had been pretending to be a derelict while it watched them. Weapons systems are powering up on the human ship, reported the tactical officer. His voice held an edge of fear. Multiple targeting locks. Commander. They're tracking all 3 of our vessels. Threx's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. This is unacceptable. Unknown species do not make threats against collective warships. I would not recommend hostile action, the human voice said calmly. Somehow, they were monitoring the Crick's communications. We've been observing your patrol patterns for the past 6 weeks. We know your shield frequencies, your weapons range, and your standard tactical responses. Wessex gills fluttered nervously. 6 weeks? You've been watching us for 6 weeks? Affirmative. This is an observation post. We've been studying your 3 empires since we entered this sector. Zelkith felt a chill run through his crystalline structure. This ship, this unknown species, had been spying on 3 of the galaxy's major powers without being detected. That should have been impossible. I think, he said slowly, we need to establish proper diplomatic communication. Agreed, replied Commander Chen. However, we will not be lowering our weapons or approaching your vessels. You entered our observation space without permission. We will discuss terms from our current positions. On the tactical display, Zelkith could see his weapons officers running calculations. The numbers were not encouraging. The human ship had positioned itself perfectly. It could fire on all 3 vessels before they could effectively respond. Worse, those asteroids nearby could provide cover if needed. Whoever these humans were, they understood warfare very well. Understood, Zelkith transmitted. We will maintain current positions. Perhaps we should begin with basic information exchange. We were unaware that this sector was claimed by any species. Most species wouldn't want it, Chen replied. The nearby star is unstable. Radiation levels are high. The planets in this system are classified as uninhabitable by most galactic standards. Then why are you here? Another pause. Then, Chen answered with words that would later be remembered as humanity's true introduction to the galaxy. Because everyone else thought it was worthless, which made it perfect for us. The diplomatic chamber aboard the Veskari flagship had been hastily prepared for the meeting. 3 seats for the alien commanders, and a large communication screen for Commander Chen, who still refused to board their vessel. Zelkith couldn't blame her. Trust took time, and humanity was badly outnumbered here. Chen's face appeared on the screen. Zelkith studied her features with curiosity. She had bilateral symmetry like most species, but her skin was smooth and soft-looking, not scaled or crystalline or chitinous. Her eyes moved constantly, tracking everything in view. Predator eyes, Zelkith realized. Forward-facing, designed for hunting. Thank you for agreeing to this discussion, Zelkith began. We have many questions about your people. I'm sure you do, Chen replied. I'll answer what I can, but understand that some information is classified for security reasons. Threx clicked his mandibles impatiently. Security? You are one ship facing 3 empires. What security could you possibly need? Chen smiled, showing her teeth. Several of the alien officers stepped back from that smile. It looked aggressive, threatening. Later, they would learn that humans smiled to show friendliness, but that first smile seemed like a warning. One ship that you know about, Chen corrected. Shall we begin with basic information? You can ask your questions. Wessex spoke first, his voice bubbling through his translator. Where is your homeworld? What sector do you come from? We call our planet Earth. It's located in a region you've classified as Zone Theta 9. Too far from major trade routes to be valuable. Zelkith checked his database. Zone Theta 9 was known space, but barely. No one went there. The star systems were considered useless. What is Earth like? He asked. What type of world produces your species? Chen paused, as if choosing her words carefully. Earth has a gravity of 1.0 standard. Surface temperature ranges from -89 to +58 degrees Celsius. We have violent weather patterns, aggressive microbiology, and thousands of species that can kill an adult human. The three commanders looked at each other in shock. Those were death world conditions. Crushing gravity that would make most species struggle to stand. Temperature swings that ranged from freezing to boiling. Dangerous life everywhere. You evolved on a death world? Wessex gills fluttered wildly. That should be impossible. Sentient species develop on calm, stable worlds. Earth is stable, Chen said. By our standards. We adapted to the conditions. Your gravity alone would cripple most species, Threx observed. You must be incredibly strong. We're strong enough, Chen admitted. We had to be. Zelkith was beginning to understand. These humans had fought for survival every day of their evolution. They came from a world that constantly tried to kill them, and they not only survived but thrived enough to reach space. How long have your people had faster-than-light technology? He asked. About 50 years. 50 years. That was nothing. Most species took thousands of years to spread through space after developing FTL. The Veskari had taken 10,000 years to build their empire. You've accomplished much in such a short time, Zelkith said diplomatically. We worked fast, Chen replied. Once we knew we weren't alone in the universe, we needed to establish our position before making contact. Your position? Threx leaned forward. You are a young species. New to space. The collective could offer you protection, help you develop properly. All we would require is... No, Chen interrupted. We're not interested in becoming anyone's protectorate. Threx's mandibles snapped together angrily. You refuse the collective? Do you understand what we could do to your single ship? Yes, Chen said calmly. You could probably destroy the Perseverance, though we'd take at least one of your ships with us. But that would be a mistake. Are you threatening us? Threx demanded. No. I'm explaining reality. The Perseverance isn't alone, Commander. We have 17 other observation posts in this sector. If we stop transmitting our daily check-in signal, they'll assume we've been destroyed. And then, they'll respond accordingly. Zelkith's crystals dimmed. You're saying you have 18 ships watching us? In this sector, yes. We have more elsewhere. Wessex made a gurgling sound of distress. How many ships do humans have? That's classified, Chen replied. But I can tell you that every species in this galaxy made one major mistake. You all assumed that certain types of worlds were worthless. High-gravity worlds, high-radiation worlds, worlds with toxic atmospheres or extreme temperatures. You ignored them, left them unclaimed. Understanding crashed through Zelkith like a wave. You colonized them. Every single one we could reach, Chen confirmed. While you fought over garden worlds, we took the death worlds. And we made them work for us, because that's what we're good at. Surviving where nothing else can. She touched something off-screen, and the display changed. A star map appeared, showing territorial boundaries. The three alien empires were marked in their traditional colors, but now, scattered throughout their space, were dozens of red markers. Human colonies, human stations, human observation posts, they were everywhere. In systems that had been surveyed and dismissed. In asteroid fields too dangerous to mine. On moons, bathed in radiation. Places where no sane species would try to live. You've been here the whole time, Zelkith whispered. Watching us. Learning. About us. We prefer to understand our neighbors before introducing ourselves, Chen said. Earth taught us to be careful. To watch and learn. To prepare before taking action. This is unacceptable, Threx shouted. You cannot simply claim territory without consulting the Galactic Council. Road. We didn't claim your territory, Chen pointed out. We claimed worlds you didn't want, and we've been good neighbors. We haven't interfered with your ships, your trade, or your politics. We just want to be left alone to develop in peace. Zelkith made a decision. These humans were clearly more advanced than they appeared. More numerous. More dangerous. Better to have them as neutral neighbors than as enemies. I think, he said carefully, that the Galactic Council needs to hear about this. Properly. Through official diplomatic channels. Chen nodded. We'd be willing to open formal relations, under the condition that our territorial claims are respected. The Council will never agree, Threx muttered. Chen's smile returned. That aggressive, predator smile. Then I suppose they'll have to get used to having humans as neighbors, whether they like it or not. We're not going anywhere, commanders. Humanity has claimed its place in the galaxy. The only question is whether you want us as friends or as problems. Zelkith looked at the star map again, at all those red markers scattered through space. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for 50 years. They had spread through the darkness, taken the worlds no one wanted, and built themselves into a power that couldn't be ignored. And they had done it all in complete silence, watching and waiting. I think, Zelkith said quietly, that friendship would be preferable. 2 weeks after first contact, everything changed. Zelkith stood in his command center, watching the tactical display with growing horror. Veskar 7, one of the Concordate's colony worlds, was under attack. 50 Krix warships had crossed the border without warning and were systematically destroying the orbital defenses. How long until our reinforcements arrive? He demanded. 3 cycles, Commander, replied his tactical officer. The fleet is moving as fast as possible, but 3 cycles. Zelkith's crystals flashed red with anger. The colony will be destroyed in 1 cycle. His communications officer approached hesitantly. Commander, there is one option. The humans. Zelkith went still. Ask the humans for help? The species they'd known for only 2 weeks? It seemed desperate. But 17,000 Veskari colonists were about to die. Open a channel to the Perseverance, he ordered. Commander Chen appeared on his screen within moments. Her face was calm, but Zelkith thought he saw concern in her eyes. Commander Zelkith, what can I do for you? The Krix have attacked one of our colonies. Zelkith said bluntly. Our fleet cannot arrive in time. I am requesting human assistance. Chen was quiet for a moment. You understand that this would be humanity's first military action in galactic space? It would change how everyone sees us. Red. I understand. But my people are dying. What about the Galactic Council? Your allies? Zelkith felt shame color his crystals. The Council has rules. Protocols. The Thelm and others want to help, but bureaucracy holds them back. They must have permission, must file proper requests. By the time they receive approval, Veskar 7 will be gone. And we're not part of the Council, Chen observed. We're not bound by their rules. Yes, Chen looked off screen, apparently consulting with someone. When she turned back, her expression was serious. We'll help. But Commander, you need to understand something. Humans fight differently than you do. Our tactics might seem extreme. I don't care how you fight, Zelkith said desperately. Just save my people. We'll do our best. Chen out. The channel closed. Zelkith had no idea if he'd made the right choice. He only knew he had no other options. 6 hours later, 5 human ships dropped out of FTL near Veskar 7. They were smaller than Zelkith expected. Frigates mostly, with 1 destroyer leading them. Against 50 Krix warships, it looked like suicide. The Krix commander, Skrath, noticed them immediately. His laughter came across all channels. 5 human ships? His mandibles clicked with amusement. This is what the Veskari call for help? The human commander, a man named Rodriguez, responded calmly. Krix vessels. You are attacking a populated colony. Withdraw immediately, or we will engage. You will die, Skrath replied. Your primitive weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your slow ships cannot catch our... He stopped talking because the human ships had just done something impossible. They dropped into the planet's upper atmosphere, using it as cover. The Crick sensors couldn't track them properly through the atmospheric interference. Where did they go? Skrath demanded. His answer came in the form of metal projectiles screaming up from the atmosphere. Not energy weapons. Solid slugs of metal, accelerated to incredible speeds. They punched straight through the Crick shields as if they weren't there. How? Skrath watched in disbelief as one of his cruisers was torn apart. Energy shields were designed to stop energy. They did almost nothing against solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. The human ships burst from the atmosphere, like predators from cover. They moved erratically, never following predictable patterns. Their weapons kept firing, those devastating metal slugs. Every shot that connected, destroyed, or crippled a Crick's vessel. But the Cricks had numbers. Their energy weapons began finding targets. 2 human frigates took heavy damage. 1 was losing atmosphere. Then the humans did something that made every alien watching question their sanity. The damaged human frigate, the Edinburgh, didn't retreat. Instead, it accelerated directly toward the largest Crick's carrier. Its captain transmitted one final message. For humanity. The Edinburgh smashed into the carrier at full speed. Both ships exploded in a massive fireball. The Crick's fleet froze in confusion. What species deliberately destroyed their own ship? What commander willingly died just to take an enemy with them? Humans, apparently. Rodriguez's voice came across all channels, cold as ice. You have 10 seconds to begin retreating, or we'll do that 4 more times. And we will aim for your command ships. Skrath looked at his tactical display. He'd started with 50 ships. He was down to 36, and the humans had only lost 1 vessel. His shields were useless against their weapons, and they were clearly insane enough to ram his flagship if he didn't withdraw. All ships, retreat, he ordered. His pride hurt worse than any weapon, but his survival instinct was stronger. The Crick's fleet jumped to FTL, leaving Veskar 7 behind. Zelkith watched from his command center in stunned silence. Open a channel to Commander Rodriguez, he ordered. The human appeared on screen. His face was tired and marked with soot, but he showed no emotion. Commander Rodriguez, I don't know how to thank you. You saved 17,000 of my people, just doing our job, Commander Zelkith. But you lost a ship, the Edinburgh. 7. The ship was already evacuating. Captain Morrison and 6 volunteers stayed behind to make the ramming run. 7 deaths. 7 people who'd chosen to die to save a colony of aliens they'd never met. Zelkith struggled to understand that kind of sacrifice. I am deeply sorry for your losses, he said. Rodriguez's expression didn't change. We lost 7 crew members, Commander. You would have lost 17,000 colonists. We consider this an acceptable trade. Zelkith felt something cold settle in his crystals. Acceptable trade? Humans calculated death with mathematics. They weighed lives like cargo and made decisions based on numbers. The Cricks will want revenge, Zelkith warned. You've humiliated them. Let them come. Rodriguez replied. We'll be ready. After the channel closed, Zelkith sat in silence for a long time. His people were saved. The colony was secure. But he'd learned something about humanity that disturbed him deeply. They were warriors. Not just soldiers or defenders, but true warriors who understood death intimately. They didn't fight to win glory or prove strength. They fought with cold calculation, willing to trade their own lives if the mathematics favored it. His communications officer approached quietly. Commander, a message from Veskar 7. The colonists want to send their gratitude to the humans. Of course, Zelkith said. They owe humanity their lives. But privately, he wondered if the galaxy had made a terrible mistake. Not in meeting humanity, But in assuming that any species from a death world would be weak, the humans weren't weak. They were the most dangerous thing in space. Survivors who'd learned that sometimes you had to embrace death to preserve life. And they'd brought those lessons with them to the stars. The neutral station hung in space like a crystal flower, built by 7 different species as a place for diplomacy. Today, it hosted humanity's first official embassy to the Galactic Council. Ambassador James Wright stood in the main hall, surrounded by dozens of alien species who'd come to observe the newest members of galactic civilization. Some looked curious. Others looked nervous. A few looked openly hostile. Wright was used to difficult audiences. He smiled politely and prepared for a long day. The trouble started in the cultural exchange wing. Dr. Thesson, a Veskari anthropologist, had volunteered to study human culture. She believed that understanding humanity would help the galaxy accept them. She started by requesting examples of human entertainment. "These are our most popular films," explained Lieutenant Sarah Kim, the cultural liaison. She'd brought data chips containing hundreds of movies. "They should give you a good sense of how humans think." Thesson watched the first film with interest. It was called Independence Day and showed humanity being attacked by aliens. She expected to see humans fleeing or surrendering. Instead, they fought back with nuclear weapons. They flew ships directly into alien vessels to destroy them. They refused to surrender even when their cities were burning. "This is entertainment?" Thesson asked weakly. "One of our most popular movies," Kim confirmed. Thesson tried another film. The Terminator showed machines trying to destroy humanity. Then, World War Z showed a disease turning humans into monsters. Then, Deep Impact showed an asteroid coming to destroy Earth. Every single film showed humanity facing extinction. And in every single film, humans fought back with desperate determination. "Do all your stories involve the end of your species?" Thesson asked. Kim thought about it. "A lot of them. Yeah. We find it inspiring. It reminds us that we can survive anything." "You find your own extinction inspiring?" "We find the fight against it inspiring," Kim corrected. "It's not about dying. It's about refusing to die." Thesson moved on to children's stories, hoping for something gentler. She found fairy tales about children lost in forests, chased by wolves, imprisoned by witches. She found stories where parents died, where heroes faced monsters, where entire kingdoms fell to darkness. "You tell these stories to children?" Thesson's crystals had gone pale. "Don't they cause trauma?" "They teach kids that the world can be dangerous," Kim explained. "But also, that courage and cleverness can overcome danger. We don't hide death from our children. We teach them to respect it." Thesson wrote extensive notes. Human children were apparently raised to understand mortality from an early age. No wonder adult humans were so comfortable with risk. Meanwhile, in another part of the station, Ambassador Wessick was learning about human recreation. "You jump out of flying aircraft?" he asked in disbelief. The human Marine, Corporal Davis, grinned. "Skydiving is awesome. The rush when you're falling, then you pull the cord and suddenly you're floating. It's peaceful. You fall toward the ground at terminal velocity and call it peaceful? Well, yeah. Once the chute opens." Wessick's gills fluttered rapidly. "And this? Mountain climbing? You scale vertical rocks that could collapse at any moment?" "That's the fun part," Davis said. "Figuring out the route. Testing yourself against the mountain. When you reach the top, man, the view is worth it. And swimming in oceans where predators live? Sharks rarely attack humans. And if you're careful, Wessick bubbled in distress. "Nothing about this is careful. You deliberately put yourselves in danger for fun." Davis shrugged. "Life's short, Ambassador. Might as well make it interesting." That evening, the Galactic Council held a formal reception. Different species brought examples of their culture to share. The Veskari demonstrated crystal singing, creating beautiful harmonies. The Thelm performed water dances. The Cricks displayed intricate nest-building patterns. Then it was humanity's turn. We've prepared a variety of human music, Ambassador Wright announced, to show our cultural range. The first piece was Mozart. The aliens listened politely, finding it pleasant, if a bit emotional. The second piece was blues music. A human woman sang about loss and pain and heartbreak. Several aliens began crying. The Thelm had to leave the room, overcome with sadness. Is she dying? Someone asked. No, she's singing about a breakup, Wright explained. It's supposed to be cathartic. The third piece was heavy metal. The drums thundered. The guitars screamed. The singer's voice was raw and aggressive. Half the aliens in the room activated their personal shields, thinking they were under attack. This is music? Threx demanded, his mandibles clattering. It sounds like a war cry. It's for letting out aggression, Wright said, trying to calm everyone down. It's energy, passion, intensity. It's terrifying, Threx interrupted. Your people listen to this voluntarily? Millions of people love metal, Wright confirmed. The cultural exchange was not going well. Things got worse when a Crix reporter asked to interview human soldiers. She wanted to understand why humans joined the military. Why do you fight? She asked a young Marine named Rodriguez. To protect my family, he answered. My country. My species. But you could die. Yeah, that's the job. So you're forced to serve? No, ma'am. I volunteered. The reporter's antennae twitched in confusion. You chose this? Knowing you might die? Someone has to defend humanity. Might as well be me. Scene. Dime. No. She interviewed 5 more soldiers and got similar answers. Duty. Honor. Protection. Adventure. Because someone has to do it. None of them seemed afraid. They'd all accepted death as a possibility and decided to serve anyway. Do humans not value life? The reporter asked Wright later. We value it enormously, Wright replied. That's exactly why we're willing to die to protect it. We understand that life is precious because it can be taken away, so we fight to preserve it, even at the cost of our own. The reporter published her article. It was titled, Humans, a species that loves life so much they'll die for it. The galaxy found this deeply confusing. The final incident happened in the embassy itself. A group of radical Cricks, still angry about their defeat at Veskar 7, decided to make a statement. 3 of them disguised themselves as maintenance workers and got close to Ambassador Wright during a public event. They drew weapons. They were fast and trained. The human security guards were faster. Within 2 seconds, all 3 attackers were on the ground, disarmed and restrained. The human guards had moved with practiced efficiency, using exactly enough force to neutralize the threat. The attackers were bruised and terrified but alive. The other aliens at the event stood frozen in shock. They'd seen violence, but nothing like this. The humans had responded to a threat with instant, controlled aggression. No hesitation. No panic. Just smooth, mechanical precision. Are you all right, sir? One of the guards asked Wright. Fine, thank you, Sergeant. Wright straightened his tie and turned to the stunned crowd. My apologies for the disruption. Is everyone else unharmed? Later, Zelkith found Wright in his office. Your guards, Zelkith said carefully. They didn't kill the attackers. Of course not, Wright replied. The threat was neutralized. Killing them would have been excessive, but they could have. I saw how fast they moved. How efficient. They're Marines, Commander. They're trained to handle threats. But we're not savages. We use appropriate force. Zelkith's crystals dimmed thoughtfully. That's what frightens the Council, Ambassador. Not that humans can be violent. That you can be violent and choose not to be. That you control it, measure it, deploy it precisely. Wright nodded slowly. Would you prefer we couldn't control it? No, Zelkith admitted. I suppose I prefer that you can. It just means we must never forget what you're capable of when you choose to act. Good, Wright said. Because we'd rather be friends than enemies. But we need our friends to understand that humanity earned its place in the galaxy. We survived a death world. We survived ourselves. And we'll survive out here in space, one way or another. Zelkith left the embassy with much to think about. The galaxy was learning about humanity, one uncomfortable lesson at a time. The invitation surprised everyone. Humanity requests the honor of hosting the Galactic Council's next diplomatic summit on Earth itself, Ambassador Wright announced. We believe it's time the galaxy saw our home. The council chamber filled with murmurs. Some species were curious. Others were suspicious. A few were openly afraid. Earth was a death world. Who wanted to visit a death world? But refusing would be an insult. 3 months later, representatives from 17 species boarded their ships and set course for Sol System. Commander Zelkith stood on the bridge of his flagship as they dropped out of FTL near Earth's sun. His first thought was that something was wrong with their sensors. Scan again, he ordered. There's too much activity. Scans are correct, Commander, his sensor officer replied. Her crystals were flickering rapidly with confusion. There are thousands of artificial structures throughout this system. Zelkith looked at the tactical display. Space stations orbited every major body. Mining operations covered the asteroid belt. Massive solar collection arrays floated near the sun. The gas giants had dozens of moons, and each moon showed signs of human presence. Mars has cities, the sensor officer continued. Domed structures covering thousands of square kilometers. Europa has underwater habitats beneath its ice. There are colonies on Titan, Callisto, Ganymede. Commander, this entire system is inhabited. How many humans live here? Wessick asked from his own ship nearby. Wright's voice came through the communication channel. In Sol System? About 22 billion. 12 billion on Earth. The rest scattered through our colonies and stations. 22 billion. The Veskari Concordat's entire population was only 30 billion, spread across 100 star systems. Humanity had nearly that many in their home system alone. How? Threx demanded. Your species only achieved FTL 50 years ago. We didn't need FTL to colonize our own system, Wright explained. We've been doing that for almost 200 years. The alien fleet continued toward Earth. And with each passing hour, they saw more evidence of human capability. Shipyards hung in orbit around Luna, constructing vessels at an incredible pace. Defensive satellites created a network of protection around the inner planets. Everything was organized, efficient, militarized. This isn't a single colony, Zelkith said quietly. This is a fortified empire. Then they saw Earth itself. The planet hung before them like a blue and green jewel. Clouds swirled across its surface. The continents were covered with lights. Vast, sprawling networks of cities. From orbit, Earth looked beautiful and terrifying at the same time. So much life. So much activity. So much energy. The gravity is truly 1.0? Wessick asked nervously. Afraid so. Wright confirmed. We have lower gravity areas prepared for your comfort. But if you want to experience Earth properly, you'll need gravity assistance suits. Right. Wright confirmed. The aliens descended to the surface in shuttles designed for their various needs. Zelkith wore a specialized suit that helped him move under Earth's crushing gravity. Even with assistance, each step felt heavy. How did humans live like this every day? They landed at a facility near a place called Geneva. Humans had gathered to greet them. Thousands of people who'd come to see the aliens. The crowd was cheerful and curious, waving and taking pictures. Children rode on their parents' shoulders to get a better view. So many, Thesson whispered. There are so many of them. This is just one city. Wright said. Earth has hundreds of major population centers. The summit itself was held in a massive building designed to accommodate different species. But Wright insisted on giving them a tour first. He took them to military facilities where humans trained for combat. The aliens watched soldiers running obstacle courses that would kill most species, practicing with weapons, drilling in formation. "How many soldiers does humanity have?" Threx asked. "That's classified," Wright replied. "But I can tell you that every human nation maintains a standing military. Old habit, from when we only had Earth. We've never quite shaken the need to stay ready." No. He showed them manufacturing centers where ships and weapons were being produced constantly. Research facilities where humans studied physics, biology, and warfare in equal measure. Everything spoke of preparation, of readiness, of a species that expected threats and planned accordingly. But the most impactful moment came at Arlington National Cemetery. Row after row of white markers stretched across green hills. Hundreds of thousands of graves. Each one represented a human who died in service to their nation. "These are your warriors?" Zelkith asked quietly. "These are our dead," Wright corrected. "Military service members who gave their lives. This is just one cemetery. Every nation has places like this." "You killed this many of each other?" Theson's crystals had gone nearly transparent with shock. "We didn't survive despite our conflicts," a human general named Martinez explained. She'd joined them for this part of the tour. "We survived because of what they taught us." "Inrive. I don't understand," Wessex said. Martinez walked among the graves, touching some of the markers gently. "Every war taught us something. Every conflict showed us the cost of aggression, the value of diplomacy, the importance of choosing battles wisely. These graves represent lessons written in blood, and we swore never to forget them. But you still maintain militaries," Threx pointed out. "You still prepare for war." "Too. Because we learned another lesson," Martinez replied. "Peace is fragile. It must be protected. And sometimes, the only way to preserve peace is to be strong enough that others think twice before breaking it." The summit itself lasted 3 days. Representatives from across the galaxy discussed trade agreements, territorial boundaries, and diplomatic protocols. Humanity was officially recognized as a sovereign power with full rights and responsibilities. On the final day, the aliens prepared to depart. Zelkith found Wright standing alone, looking up at the stars. "Your world is remarkable," Zelkith said. "Terrifying but remarkable." "I know it seems harsh to you," Wright acknowledged. "But it made us who we are. A warrior species. A survivor species," Wright corrected. "We fight when we must. But we'd rather not. We came to the stars, to explore, to learn, to find our place in the universe. We're not interested in conquest or domination." "Then what do you want?" Wright was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. "We want to make sure no one ever threatens Earth again. We want to explore and discover. We want to raise our children in peace. And we want to know that if someone does threaten us, we're strong enough to protect everything we've built." "You sound almost afraid," Zelkith observed. "We are afraid," Wright admitted. "We know what extinction looks like. We've imagined it in 1,000 different ways. It's in our stories, our nightmares, our collective memory. And that fear drives us to prepare, to stay strong, to never become complacent." "The galaxy fears you," Zelkith said bluntly. "I know." Wright turned to face him. "But they fear us because they don't understand us yet. We're not monsters, Commander. We're just survivors who learned hard lessons on a hard world. Give the galaxy time. They'll see that humanity can be a good ally, maybe even a good friend. And if not," Wright's expression became serious, "then they'll learn what Earth taught us. That survival isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about being too stubborn to quit, too adaptable to trap, and too determined to break." We didn't claw our way to the top of Earth's food chain just to become prey among the stars. Later, as the alien fleet prepared to jump to FTL, Zelkith stood on his bridge one final time, looking at Earth through the viewport. "What do you think, Commander?" his first officer asked. "Will humanity integrate peacefully into galactic society?" Zelkith thought about everything he'd seen. The massive infrastructure, the billions of humans, the weapons and ships being built every day, the graves of millions who died in humanity's own conflicts, the determination he'd seen in every human face. "I think humanity will do exactly what they want," Zelkith replied. "And I think the smartest thing the galaxy can do is make sure what they want aligns with peace. Because if it comes to war—" He paused, watching Earth recede as they accelerated away. "I don't think we'd win." "They're that strong?" "They're that determined," Zelkith corrected. "Strength can be defeated. But determination? The refusal to quit no matter the cost? That's something else entirely. And Earth spent 4 billion years teaching humanity that lesson." As the stars blurred into hyperspace, Zelkith made a note in his personal log. "First contact with humanity. Successful. Recommendation: maintain friendly relations at all costs. We thought we were discovering a minor species. Instead, we found survivors of a death world who brought their survival instincts with them to space. The galaxy will never be the same." Back on Earth, in her office, Commander Sarah Chen read Zelkith's report. Someone had leaked it to human intelligence, and it had made its way to her desk. She smiled and filed it away. Humanity's introduction to the galaxy was complete. Now came the hard part: proving they could be neighbors worth having. But Earth had taught them patience along with determination. They could wait. They could adapt. They could survive. They always had.